first off, I'm gonna just say this, like, if if you have dedicated your life to ascension, if you have devoted time, space, energy, resources to getting better, developing your character, developing your spirit, digging deeper into your soul, finding your purpose. If you've done that work, let me just say congratulations, because it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of strength, diligence, and desire to go through life allowing yourself to be a victor, to move through life and not have the same watered down, mundane energy and approach to life that everyone else does. Well, that the majority of the average person does. It takes a lot of gut, grit, a lot of knowing to be able to withstand life and still come out on the other side with gratitude, with pleasure, with purpose, and with passion. So, if you are a woman on a mission, if you are a leader by nature, and if you tend to quantum leap often, I'm going to share with you three main avenues that I use whenever life is shifting in one way or I need clarity. So, my name is Nubia, Kamisha Sade like the singer, and I'm a retired beautician turned femininity mentor. I found that doing my own hair at the tender age of 7 showed me that something as thick, as thorough, as kinky as a full-blown grade of hair for a little black girl that was to everyone else a burden. I sat in the mirror and I said, how can I make this beautiful? I know that I'm told that beauty is pain, but how can I rewrite this story? So I didn't know it at the time, but I've always been inquisitive to want to rewrite a story, to want to rewrite a narrative that's given to me and it doesn't feel easy and breezy to my spirit. See, I am an Aquarius. So my innovative mind always leads me to identify what is the smoothest, most efficient way that this can be done with the most amount of pleasure, purpose, and passion. Because we don't just do life, we feel life. So I'm in the mirror at the tender age of 7, and I'm doing my own hair. This act of self-love at the time, really, because I'm like, y'all not about to just keep having me be tortured, sitting down in a chair. I'm tender-headed, okay? So all my tender-headed girlies out there, if you know, you know. It's a process. It is not fun. And it feels like a punishment. And as a kid, it felt like a punishment. And I said, well, I'm not going to continue to get punished. I'm a really good girly. Like I do everything I'm told. I'm a really good girl. I want to rewrite what it means to be beautiful, knowing that beauty doesn't mean pain. And whoever made that up, why would you do something like that? And whoever followed, why would you follow something like that? So I began to learn how to twist and braid and coil my own hair. And the gentleness that I developed from my own tenderheadedness allowed me to do the same for other little girls in my school, then their moms and their aunts, and then the women in my family. And then I began and I grew to be a very popular hairstylist in my city. My city was very small. So when the word gets around that you find a good person to put their hands in your head and their hands are growing hands, your name gets out there really fast. So I found that, and what I was really passionate about was that when I would do these braiding styles and these box braids and these different twists, more and more and more, the same girlies who would get the pressed perms and the chemicals in their hair, they would say, well, you know, it's been a year since I had a perm. I haven't had a perm since I've been in you. And that year would grow into 5. At that moment, I did not know that I was saving crowns quite literally because the chemicals that's put in your hair when you're getting a perm to relax your hair, it damages your crown energy. It's not just your hair it damages, but it also damages the signals and the connection to spirit, your ancestors. And I had a passion and I was excited and I felt like I was winning. I'm like, yes, yep, my clients don't get perms. They don't got to get perms because when I put my braids in their hair, It lasts for months and months, and they can keep those chemicals out of their hair. I felt really good about that. Now, at the time, this was something that I just did because I was passionate, and others would say, "Hey, can you do mine now?" So sitting down in a chair was not only a time to get beautified and get your hair protected, but as we all know, when it's time to go to the salon, it's therapy time. So, I mean, I've heard all the stories. It's to the point where I started out so early as a beautician that at my beautiful, tender, yet seasoned age that I'm at right now, I feel like I've heard just about every trauma, breakthrough, challenge, and story that a woman can hold, that a woman goes through. And I see the same sequence. I see in the beginning, there's a conditioning. There's a conditioning that happens either out of fear or religion or scarcity or survival. I see there's a condition that's usually placed on the mind and the energy of the little girl who's not even yet 7. And that conditioning usually wires the little girl to be a certain way. Now, when she's wired to be a certain way, if it's not in direct alignment with her purpose and what spirit placed in her portal, then there will be some form of resistance. The resistance will show up in arguments, having drama with friends, just disobey, just acting out, right? Because you're young and you're rebelling, you're trying to rebel and you want to rebel because your brain is simultaneously being conditioned and then also trying to grow its own rhythm, right? So you're young, you're not even 7 yet, and these conditions are put on you. And so after these conditions are put on, and then you grow to understand that this isn't in alignment, it doesn't feel good to me, it doesn't feel in harmony with me. This feels forced. This doesn't feel like me. And if I ruled the world, this is not how it would go. And were my thoughts at a very young age. And so from the conditioning, then goes the suppression. Because if you're being conditioned to think, be, act, talk, dress a certain type of way, then anything that's out of alignment with that, you're suppressing that. You're suppressing your creative energy. You're suppressing your ability to lead. You're suppressing your natural innate purpose. You're suppressing that. And that suppression usually extends from 7 to 18. And maybe 7 to 10 to 12 to 13. And what I find that happens is, and this is through my experiences, I've worked with very, very young women and I've worked with women who are twice my age. And so what happens is when the suppression happens, there is a collapse. There's a collapse within the identity. There's a time and a pivotal moment where there's a break. There's a break that happens. There's a shave your head bald. There's a wear all black. There's a time in life where we all as women have went through where we had our breaking point. And usually within that breaking point, there is a rebel that comes out of that breaking point. Because when you get down to your bare lowest point of sanity, you find strength through source. In some way, shape, or form, you find the strength. But if you're not equipped with the tools, then you grow up and you become a rebel who is now a product of suppression and now living in shame because society is shaming you for if your sensuality was suppressed and now you are like, I'm a nudist, right? And I like to show this and I like to show that. And this is how I liberated myself from the suppression. Then now you're shamed from the very conditions and the suppression that was placed on you, being a byproduct of that. So it can get very difficult. And this is true in so many different scenarios. You take a woman who is put in a condition to be a mother at a very young age, first to her siblings and then to a teenage pregnancy. And then she develops a very strong hyper independence. And the collapse of her identity of something that she once knew to be codependency or the desire for interdependency, it drops and it falls and it's no longer an interest because I know that if I do it my way, it can get done correctly. I know that if I depend on myself, it's gonna get done and I'm gonna be okay and it's predictable. So the hyper independence is then looked at in society as, oh, you're too independent. Now you're shamed for a condition that was really placed on you at a very early age. So you may think to yourself, well, in life, based on society's perspective, how do I win? Here is what I've done a long time ago, and I'm gonna get into the sequence of the AAA path of devotion to yourself and your own development. This is how you're going to use these same principles to navigate your way through the most difficult times or even the most irritating times or unpredictable times. This works like a charm, and I use it all the time. So, my point. I was just going somewhere. Okay, so now with the suppression and being a byproduct of the suppression, there's shame, right? You're having to identify like, well, how do I win? Right? Because if I win, oh, I was getting to what I decided to do years ago. So what I decided to do probably like 6 to 7 years ago is I dropped out of society. I made the decision. I said, you know what? I'm not playing. I'm not playing the game. I'm just not a participant. So I noticed when you drop out of games, you don't have to participate. When you drop out of games, you don't have to participate. When you are participating in the game that you don't like, you're wasting your creative energy trying to figure out why the maker of the game made the rules like this and made the rules like that. And no, it should be like this and it should be like that. And if you want to use power versus force with being a woman, drop out of society. I kid you not, the best decision I ever made. And guess what? I didn't have to sign up. I didn't have to go through no registration process. I decided I was going to remove myself, my essence, and who the world told me that I was or was not. I was just going to remove all of that power out of the hands of society and I was just going to place it in my own hands and then simply just report to spirit. So I report to spirit. I report to the Most High. I don't report to society. So the validation that comes from society, I don't need it. Now, do I get validation from society? All the time. I'm always told how beautiful I am, nurturing, caring, feminine, creative, powerful, all the things. That's cool. But I dropped out of society because I'm also very aware that the same essence of extreme admiration that comes from society can twist up and it can turn around and be a completely different way. You know, when you were a little girl, you were told, like, do this, do that, do this, do that. You'll be more beautiful. First, it was the big boobs, then little boobs, big butt, then little butt, big nose, then little nose, skinny nose, right? So it's all of this poking at you, telling you who you should be and how you should be in order to be more acceptable, in order to be more beautiful. You should talk like this, think like this, act like this, because we as women, we run the world. We all know this to be true. So if society can control a woman and how she shows up in the world, then we can then predict how our world is going to be. So there's so many rules and there's so much pressure in society that has us trying to figure out how do we win. And so, getting back into my story, those same women who sat in my chair, they begin to get breakthroughs from the advice that I would give them or say, well, you know what? Instead of going to fight the girl, right? Because where I'm from, in my very small town in upstate New York, it was very common for women to fight over men. It was very common for violence to happen. In fact, I was thinking about it the other day and it made me very, very sad. I remember a sweet, talented, gorgeous young lady. She had to be every bit of, what were we, like 16 at the time? I remember her going, and it was a huge thing in our city because this girl was really sweet. But I remember her going to confront a friend about some drama online. I believe it was either MySpace or Facebook at the time. And that very friend, who was her friend, that very friend stabbed her 17 times and killed her. And that's the that's some of the experiences of my childhood. Those stories belonged on First 48. Like there was so many stories of people that I knew, that I grew up with, that I went to school with, that their life was gone due to violence. So I say that to say my role and my responsibility as a hairstylist was to speak life into these women, right? To speak life into these women. And not all of them were violent over men, but all of them came to me with challenges. Sometimes it was a mother trying to stop beating her child, or sometimes it was a young lady who's getting ready to get married and she has a lot of trauma. She want to hear it but clear out. Sometimes it was a seasoned woman who has been in corporate for a very long time, and she's trying to learn how to navigate her life now that her children are grown, and she want her groove back, right? So it wasn't all tragedy, but it was very well diverse, and I heard a lot of stories. So as I took that role very serious as a hairstylist who provided talk therapy, I provided that safe space, I provided blueprints, honey, clarity, roadmaps. I said, listen, when you go home, you're going to do this, say this, feel this, you're going to shred this, you're going to get rid of this, and then I'm going to see you back when you come to get your hair done. So they would come back and they would say, you know what, that worked. Ooh, that worked. That was great. That worked. Can you be my coach? Your advice was so potent. You always know what to say. Can you be my coach? Can you be my coach? And I thought it was flattering because I'm like, girl, this is just the same way when the aunts and the grandmothers would ask me to do their hair. I'm like, girl, this is just what I do to my hair. Like, you want me to do your hair? I charge you. What? This is just what I do. Like, I love it. I love redefining beauty. That was just my thing, right? And so, and so as these women are asking me, like, I'm talking about the girl bosses. I'm talking about the stay-at-home moms. I'm talking about the CEOs, talking about the entrepreneurs that would say, listen, you, at the time in my hometown, they called me Mimi. And Mimi, my nickname, Mimi, you need to be my coach. Now, I didn't know that this was a thing, but I've always known of Tony Robbins, Ty Lopez. Those were like my two very first distant mentors, Tony Robbins and Ty Lopez. And so as I began to learn more about the personal development industry, I started researching Oprah and Eric Thomas and Lisa Nichols and the coaches and mentors that I could resonate with. And I realized that this was an actual industry. I was like, coaching is an industry? Wait. Like life coaching, like personal development, that's really a real thing. And so as I discovered more, I said, oh, well, I could do this. I can do this. I'm super equipped with real life experiences, right? So I did all the legal stuff in order to make sure that I can be able to serve these same women because they were bullying me, telling me that I need to coach them. And they're going to keep showing up in my chair until I decide to coach them. And they need to be able to call me and have access to me so I can give them the same roadmap. And it was so cool. I was flattered by it. But I didn't know that it would bring me to this point. And I say that to say that whatever's for you will never miss you. And whatever is not for you will never catch you. That's something I live by. So whatever's for you in reference to purpose, it will never miss you. It will always keep coming back and doubling back and knocking on your door saying, hey, you there? Yeah, okay. Oh no, you in a different country? Okay, cool. I'll go get you over there. That's what I believe. Let society tell it. You only get one shot at life. You only get one shot, but I believe it's false. I rewrote the narrative and dropped out of society, and I said, whatever is meant for me going to continue to double back to find me. And so it is. So dropping out of society has been my way of being able to see what's going on in the world and not be hyper impacted by it. Because I'm an empath by nature, very empathetic, extremely compassionate. I'm an Aquarius, but my rising is in Cancer. And if you know anything about astrology, your rising is how you show up in the world and how people feel you. So anytime someone meets me, they feel instantly comfortable. Usually they end up telling me their whole life story. And I've learned to create the proper boundaries to be able to hold those stories without feeling drained at the end. And so, as an empath, I found that me dropping out of society, that was the best decision I ever made. And you can make the decision right now to be able to say, I drop out of society. I'm no longer a part of that. Let's get into my framework for realignment, my framework for growth, development, and how to win in this world as a woman. Here's what I believe. As a woman, you are the closest thing to the Most High. You have a womb, you have the universe inside of you. You can create other lives, including energetic, spiritual, soulful. It's not just creating physical lives, but you can create worlds. You can create destinies. You can give birth to multi-billion dollar businesses with your womb space. You know, the same womb space that every single human had to come out of, right? Every woman, and of course, every man, right? Men spend 9 months in the womb and then spend the rest of their life trying to figure out how to get back up in it. Yeah, that same magic, that same power that we have, that's what makes us so close to God. So, because we have so much power, we're always awarded with a purpose when we come to this planet. We're always awarded with a purpose. And see, this purpose needs to be fulfilled. But if society robs us of our power, our sense of seeking out that purpose and having the proper resources to develop that purpose, and then not knowing how to deploy ourselves in that purpose and still maintain and cultivate a desirable life, then the world lacks, the world loses. That's a lost purpose. That's a lost evolution that we could have had on this planet at the time we were supposed to have it, that's now gone because another woman falling victim to a conditioning and a suppressing and then collapsing and coming out of that collapse without the proper tools. So now maybe she is a little prostitute, you know, or now maybe she is scamming, or now maybe she is hyper independent and don't have time for her purpose. So I want to tell you, wherever you are right now watching this video, it's never too late. It's never too late for you to decide to drop out of society and align yourself with your purpose. So let's get into, I can see people walking from here. I still have my New York sensories, right? Currently living in San Jose, Costa Rica. Very first year here. It's my Venus line, and it's been a very powerful shift in my world, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So, first A, I'm giving you 3 A's today. The first A is awareness. No matter where you are, no matter if you are in a really good positive state of being or you're feeling very low, semi-depressed, challenged, confused, overstimulated, underwhelmed, the first thing you want to do is identify, where am I? Where have I been? These are 3 great questions to ask yourself to open up your awareness. Where have I been? Where am I now? And where am I going? Where have I been? Where am I now? And where am I going? When I tell you those three questions will immediately spark a sense of awareness all around you, if you just answer those three questions, you'll have the first A, awareness. Where have I been? Where am I now? And where am I going? Now, through these questions, you'll get answers and many downloads of other things like, is this environment serving me? Am I in the right relationship? Do I need to be in a relationship? Is it time for a marriage? What's the T? So, one thing I found very powerful to do in life is asking the right questions. Let's give it up one time for asking the right questions. I learned to stop asking the questions that I don't want the answer to. Because what I found is that you're going to get the answer. So if you're going to ask questions, ask some really good questions. Instead of saying, why can't this happen? Ask, what would need to be true in order for this to happen? Mm, those are two different answers, right? So asking yourself, where have I been? Where am I now? And where am I going? Immediately opens up your sense of awareness. Truth be told, there's a lot of people walking around with low and lack of awareness. Don't know what's going on. I find it fascinating when I go to grocery stores and I'll ask someone who clearly works in the grocery store where something is and they have no idea. And now sometimes they may be new. But the amount of times that I ask questions in the grocery store and the amount of I get is crazy to me. You're supposed to know about your environment. You're supposed to have sense of awareness of the energy around you, honey, and the frequently asked questions that you may get if you're in a certain industry. If you are always getting asked a question, you might want to like do some research and get good at your environment and knowing what's in your environment, what's not in your environment. Usually people come up to me and ask me this. But if you're not able to be present, you don't think at a high level. So that's awareness. Ask yourself those three questions. Where have I been? Where am I now? And where am I going? Once you find your awareness and you bring awareness to the present moment and you are awarded with facts and details, it's telltale at that point. You're awarded with the facts and the proper details of whatever you need to move on to the next A, which is alignment. Alignment is law. The law of alignment for me means everything because I move through life very rapidly. I'm a manifesting generator in my human design, which means that things manifest for me very fast and I can do work very fast. So manifestor pretty much owns this whole, excuse me. The manifestor owns this whole entire realm, right? The clairvoyance, the being able to see the unseen, the manifesting, the materialization, thinking, and so it is. The generators are supposed to do the physical work. So I'm a Manny Gen. I'm both and. So through my life, I've done a lot of work fast and get fast results. So since I know that about myself and I have that sense of awareness about myself, this is the reason why self-discovery is a lifelong journey of evolution. It's a lifelong, to me, it's a dance, it's a party because it's like the more I get to know myself, the more I know all my ways, and I haven't even touched the surface yet. It's been 20 plus years of personal development and discovery, but I know I change, we evolve, we grow, right? So knowing that I move very rapidly, alignment is a major for me because I could go very fast in the wrong direction. And I know that time is very valuable. So me going really, really fast in the wrong direction, that's a great way to piss me off. A great way, because I'm like, what would that speed had looked like if I was in alignment? So alignment for me is one of my favorite. I believe that's the core of this whole entire pathway. You have awareness first. This gives you the light bulb, bing, the light bulb moment of, okay, where am I? What's the present? What's the T? Where have I been? Where am I now? Where am I going? You're then awarded the facts. You need the facts. You need to know what's up. What's real? What's really good, despite what I'm telling myself. What's the T for real? Okay. And now I can align myself. Well, if I know from my facts that I'm no longer in alignment with this habit, this person, this place, this thing, I can't go to the next A, which is ascension. I can't ascend forward because everything has to be in alignment. My decisions, my thoughts, the songs I listen to, the things that I put into my body, the type of people I allow myself to be around, that all has to be in alignment because I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm here on a purpose. I know that I'm not just here coasting. I'm here to do something or become something or be something. So, and have something. And so because of that, I like motion. I like motion. I like forward motion. I like motion. So, alignment is how we go from awareness and then we move into alignment by identifying where we were, where we are now, and where we're going so we can match up people, places, and things and experiences to match where we're going. The last part, the last A, I love this. I lived in Atlanta for like 5 years, but the last A is ascension. After we become aware, we got the facts, we got the T, we know what's good, we know what's not good. We've discovered, we took a trip inside, we know our stuff, we good. So we're aware. Then we have alignment. Oh, we done cleared out that circle, lined up everything, lined up our faith, centered spirit back to the center of our life, be centered everything else, and centered spirit back into our life. Are we going somewhere? We going somewhere. Are we out? Where we going? Because we're ascending. Now you can ascend. And here's the beautiful thing about ascension. Ascension may feel like the toughest part to get to because you have to go through all of the other clutter, healing, transformation. But baby, when you get to that ascension, ascension is almost automatic because you've aligned yourself with the lifestyle, the vision, the frequency, the essence and the vibe of where you're going. But you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. If you don't know where you at now, you don't know where you're going. So those three questions are very, very powerful. Awareness, alignment, ascension. Those are three A's. Okay. Now, when you hit ascension, the goal is to, of course, ascend and stay at a high vibe, right? In the perfect world, everything will always be perfect. But if you find yourself being redirected or feeling like you're taking a few steps back, baby, you got those same three A's that you can always revisit: awareness, alignment, ascension. And that's what gives you your power. That's what allows you to feel that sense of innate power that you naturally have to be able to say, something feeling weird, something's off, and I'm not feeling it. You know what? This is not going how I thought it was. Wait a minute. How did I find myself here? Okay. Awareness, alignment. Okay, ascension. Okay, cool. All right, we back in again. We back in it. Oh, awareness, alignment, ascension. So that's the T. And that's what I use to navigate through life. Right now, I'm in a very pleasant state in my life. It's the year number 9, which means that everything that needed to die and shed and release and get exposed has done what it was supposed to do. And I'm glad. because I rather whatever is not in alignment to fall off versus me finding ways to keep it attached and keep it connected because I am very creative. I will find a way. I will find a way to do anything that leads me to my desired outcome. But sometimes when we place our desired outcome first before awareness, alignment, and ascension, that's when we find ourselves going in the wrong direction at a very high speed. So I'm affirming that this video connected to you in this present moment at a very aligned time. It's never too late to redirect, call the shots, drop out of society, and realign yourself. My name is Nubia Kamisha Sade. Please don't call me Mimi. Okay, that was T. I gave you a little bit. But Coach Nubia, clients call me Coach Nubia, Coach K, Coach Kamisha. Kamisha is my first name. Nubia is my spiritual name. And if this video resonated with you and you're like, wow, that hit, I got some work to do. And you know what? I don't want to do it by myself. I'm ready to go faster and really move in the direction of what I've seen for myself years ago. I'm ready to actually put my feet in the sand, in the garden. People call it the mud in the trenches. I prefer to call it a garden. I want to put my feet in a garden. I want to actually start to water and nurture my purpose and what I know that I'm here to do, who I know that I'm here to be. I'm ready to take it to the next level. I'm ready to level up. I'm talking about body, bag, bank account. I want it all, like all the things. Like I want to level up my look. I want to level up my communication style. I want to feel deep into my body. Like I want my sensuality to be for me first. I want to stop over functioning in love and finding myself in positions where I have to keep buying myself back from somebody who I cheaply sold myself to. I want to be a coach. I want to speak on stages. I want to write a book. I want to experience the life of a thought leader because I know that I am. And I have all the proof in the world, but yet I have slept on it. If you are any of those and you feel like any of that, you want to show up bigger and better on social media, right? You want to show up bigger and better in your own world. You want to attract differently. I'm talking about differently. Then click the link below, right here in the description, to book a clarity call. Now on this call, it's 30 minutes. It's time for you. It's time for you to express yourself. You'll get me, not a representative. I'll learn more about your situation. And at the end, I'll provide you with some clarity. And if it's a good fit and it's in alignment, then I'll show you how I can be able to help you get there in quantum time, just like how I do all my other clients. So if that's you and you're ready for your next level, you're ready for clarity, you're ready for precision, you're ready to integrate your feminine energy in your life and your world, not in a way where people play in your face, but in a way where you cultivate your reality by design and not by default, then a clarity call is your very next step. Click the link below and I'll see you on the other side. And we counting down the time. 2026 is right on the way. So enjoy. I'll do a few more videos before the new year, hopefully. But if not, until then, I love you very much. And as my mother always say, be good to yourself.